Hey friends, Gary here. Welcome to today's video. Today I will answer some of your comments and questions on my videos. But quick announcement, don't forget to support my Patreon because you will get access to this calendar, 2026 calendar. You can download the PDF version and you'll be able to enjoy some pictures that I captured from my recent trip to Denmark, Iceland, and Finland on this calendar. But anyway, let's start with the first comment. First comment is from Georgip4278. Great video. I'm considering getting the new 9-18 Mark II, but the price is a little high. Does the Pani 818 give you chromatic aberration on Olympus bodies? I've seen some on my Olympus bodies as I don't own any Lumix cameras. Well, yes, unfortunately with the 9-18, although it is a great lens, I always think of it as a little bit too high in terms of the price. It is too expensive for what it is and for the quality of this lens. Don't get me wrong, it takes great pictures. It's just that it's a bit too expensive, especially compared to the competition. Now regarding to the 8-18 on Olympus bodies, I cannot be sure 100% as I don't currently own any Olympus bodies, and when I had Olympus bodies I haven't got this lens yet, but I believe this is a great performer. And if you do end up with chromatic aberration, there are a couple of ways that you can do to mitigate that issue. First of all, stop it down just a little bit to about f4. I think that will help to solve the chromatic aberration issues. And if you cannot stop down, then another thing that you can do is remove it in post using your favorite post-processing software like Adobe Lightroom or anything else really. They all have easy to use chromatic aberration removal tool. Next comment is from nSpiraliArchitectb. Scoundrels who release primitive crap in the form of modern cameras is what? How people can get so worked up and negative over something like photography gear is a mystery to me. Take the energy and harness it towards bettering your craft instead of bickering and whining. 100% agree. Well, sometimes this kind of comments shows up because not because 100% due to negativity. Maybe it's because the person is being frustrated with his current camera gear situation. Maybe his or her camera is not working as it's supposed to be or as he or she expected. Sometimes these kind of things happen, and sometimes they pent up this anger into negative comments on YouTube. Happens all the time, and we just need to dismiss that kind of comment. But yes, I agree 100% about channeling this emotion, this feeling towards bettering the craft. And that's why I invite you guys to join the collective gallery where you'll be able to submit your photos and I will share them on future videos so that we can inspire each other to have more fun with photography and also to improve our skills as photographer. Again, the link right here. You can submit your photo right there. See you on the next collective gallery video. Next comment is from HNTrains2. Is the head detachable? Yeah, this is a comment about the tripod that I'm currently using with my phone right now. It's the Ulanzi MT44, a compact content creator, quote-unquote sort of tripod. And unfortunately, the head is not detachable. I will show some B-rolls of the details of the ball head mechanism and also the head mechanism so you can better understand it. But it's actually quite easy for you to attach another ball head system into this existing ball head on the tripod. And by doing that, maybe you can use Arca Swiss compatible plates, things like that, maybe. But of course, that'll be adding some weight into the tripod. So you have to take that into consideration. Next comment is from ArtShell69. Glad you had a good holiday, Gary. Your photos look amazing. I thought you were taking your DJI Pocket 3. Thank you very much. This comment is from my Iceland gear review video after I went back from Iceland, which you can check probably here, or is it here? I always forget where the card is, but I will put it somewhere above. But yeah, I did bring my DJI Pocket 3. I didn't feature it on the video because this is not directly related to my Micro Four Thirds camera and lens setup. but the DJI Pocket 3 work really well. I made my vlogs, which you can also check somewhere up here. I made the Iceland vlogs with this DJI Pocket 3. And also, I made a full-blown travel photography video course recorded mostly using just this guy and the DJI Action 4 little action camera together combined with some b-rolls from my Panasonic Lumix G100 and also from my phone, and that will be coming soon, so please stay tuned and make sure that you are joining my Patreon, being a supporter on my Patreon, because you will get a full access to that tutorial video included with your Patreon benefits. Next comment is from JRN Paulsen 7146. Thanks for the nice video, always a pleasure. Greetings from Denmark. Thank you very much. Greetings from Indonesia. Denmark is a beautiful country. I visited Denmark during the trip to Iceland as well. We visited Copenhagen and also Helsingør. Very great, very beautiful. Always love to visit your country. Next comment is from Non941. No, Micro Four Thirds is perfectly adequate for the job of capturing Iceland. I'm sure that you can get a grip for the GX850 if you look around for one. Yes, 100% agree. Micro Four Thirds work well for Iceland travel photography, and if you check out that video, I provided plenty of photos that I captured from my Iceland trip just using my Micro Four Thirds cameras, the GF9 or GX850 together with the G100. Regarding the grip of the GF9, yes, for some people I think it is important to have a grip, extended grip for the GF9, because as you can see right here, it doesn't have any grip for your hand to be to easily handle the camera. But for me personally, I don't really mind it because I have smaller hands and I'm fine doing this for a longer period of time. Next comment is from the one and only RogueSplice. I will put the comment right now. You can read the comment, but basically there are two main points. First is about wide angle versus telephoto, and the other is about the Olympus 12 to 200 millimeter super zoom lens. So thank you very much for the kind words, RogueSplice. First of all, about wide versus telephoto. No, wide angle isn't easier for me compared to telephoto, but why I preferred wide angle is because sometimes it tells better story, and sometimes also wide angle is closer to what my eyes actually see, because when you are using telephoto, inevitably you will get that compression where the background just swells. It becomes very big compared to the foreground, almost like the foreground is smack right into the background, and that'll give some kind of effect. You know, in terms of visual, it is always great to see this kind of compression, but wide angle is quite the opposite. It'll push things that are far away to become much smaller and your foreground will somehow get bigger if you get closer to it. But yeah, that's the challenge right there, and sometimes you need to be careful when using wide angle. You want to have a nice strong point of interest, usually a foreground of some sort. Maybe if you are shooting a nice beautiful scenery, you want a rock or maybe flowers or something like that, something that's strong enough, but again, not overpowering the background, because otherwise all of your attention will go into this foreground and you will forget about the beautiful scenery behind. So yeah, it's quite an art in itself on how to shoot wide angle, and I will try to make a tutorial video about this in the future maybe, so stay tuned for that. Now regarding your question about the 12 to 200 millimeter super zoom lens from Olympus, yes, I had a chance to try that lens. I think that was about 2 years ago. I will try to put the video somewhere up here. I cannot remember again. Is it on my left or on my right? But on that video, the conclusion is that although the lens is perfect in terms of optical quality, in terms of performance, I had a lot of fun using that lens, but still the lens is too big for me. It's a little bit too heavy as well. I still prefer my 14 to 140, not because my 14 to 140 is better in every respect compared to the 12 to 200, but because on my previous travel experience, I was gate checked about a couple of times. So when I arrive on the gate before I board the plane, the officers will check my bag, they will weigh it, and if my backpack is over 7 kilograms, then they will take it and they will put it straight into the check-in area on the airplane. So that was traumatizing for me because, you know, I have my cameras and lenses and important stuff in the backpack or in my carry-on suitcase, even though the weight is just about 0.01 or something like that, heavier than 7 kilograms. So nowadays I will try my best to strip down everything that I don't need, and I will just try to keep my gear as lightweight as I can. Next comment is from fungusfung 9080. I have the G100D, and although it doesn't have top specs, which I won't use anyway, it's more than enough for an intermediate photographer like me. I think Panasonic left out some features to make this model more affordable, unlike the much more expensive brands like Sony or Fujifilm. One doesn't need the latest and greatest to take good photos. I agree 100% with your last point. It's not about the camera, it's about the photographer, how we improve our skills so that we are able to take better photos. That's always been my philosophy in my channel, and that's why I always love to encourage you to take more photos. Regarding the G100, yes, this is such a great camera. I love it so much. It's been with me on my Iceland trip. It performed really well, but yeah, it is always a controversial camera in my opinion, especially from the point of view of where I live. When this guy was released, the price is very close to the price of the Panasonic Lumix GH4 when it was released, and it is not that much more expensive compared to the GH5 or something like that. So yeah, that makes me question a lot of things. I mean, what does it have that makes it priced so high? Because I also have the G85 right here, which I love so much, and for me, this camera is so much better than the G100. The handling is better, the manual control is better, there's sensor stabilization, and also there's weather sealing with this guy. This is just such a top performer. It's almost a pro level camera, while the G100 doesn't have in-body stabilizer, it doesn't have weather sealing, and yeah, it's just a small, nice little camera. Nothing bad about this camera, but it's just the price that draws me away from the G100. But nowadays, because the price starts to reduce, then the price of a G100 starts to make sense for me, and that's why I finally got one. Next comment is from Non941 again. I treat my newest mirrorless camera the same way as my old film cameras. I care about composition and exposure, not piles of tech garbage. Yeah, that's a great point actually. You know, sometimes we are too dependent on the features on our cameras, and that makes us lazy as photographers. We tend to, you know, over-depend ourselves with things that actually don't really matter in terms of photography. And that's why these last few days, these last few weeks, or even these last few months, I really enjoy taking pictures with a bare bone camera like my GF9. Doesn't have IBIS, it doesn't have this or that, even the manual control, even the handling is so poor and on this camera, but it feels so Spartan. It feels like this is, you know, just the tool, you know, that you need to take pictures. You don't really need anything more than this. And yeah, such a fun little camera, and I kind of see or understand what Non941 is talking about. Next comment is from Media OQ9UX. I have a lot of Micro Four Thirds gear. Your photos are very impressive. I personally like the feel of bigger cameras in my hands. Thank you very much for the kind words. Yeah, some people will love larger cameras because of the better handling and some other reasons. And some people like me prefer smaller cameras because I just want something that is more compact, more lightweight because I travel a lot. And yeah, people have different preferences, and that's okay. We can always be different and we can still be friends. That'll make our community become more diverse. Next comment is from RogueSplice. I will put the comment on the screen so you can read. And yeah, this comment is from my collective gallery video, the recent one. You can check again the link somewhere up there. But yeah, there are some great shots. RogueSplice also posted a photo on that video and I really enjoy that photo. There's the banana shots that is so impressive. I mean, that's like very split-second kind of moment thingy. And then there's also the camel picture, and also I posted a little bit of my own picture of the Merapi volcano that I recently captured with my G85. And yeah, you might want to submit your own photo. Again, I will provide the link right here for you to join the collective gallery. Next comment is from Ulf Johnson 2122. I own both the Mark I versions, use them daily. Nice video. Yes, this is a comment on my 14 versus 20mm video, which you can also check somewhere up here or maybe on the description below. But yeah, I love those lenses, 14 and 20. They're both pancake. I own the Mark I version of the 14mm and the Mark II version of the 20mm. The 14 is like my all-around prime lens when I just need one lens that can do it all without zooming in and zooming out. And the 20 is for something like environmental portrait or product photography or food photography because it has a little bit more punch and it also produces a little bit more background blur. Next comment is from Henry Fornierif 5367. Love it, very inspiring, makes me want to get out and shoot some street photos. Yes, thank you very much, Henry. And this comment is on the collective gallery video, which you can submit right here. And yeah, I encourage people to join the collective gallery so that they can become more inspired with each other photos. Some great submission on the latest episode. I really enjoyed it so much, and the pictures made me want to go out and take some photos. Unfortunately, it's been raining for days like crazy here in Yogyakarta where I live, so I cannot really go out and take pictures. But when I have the chance, when the sun is finally out, I will definitely grab my camera and take some photos. Next comment is from patrickbenthamradley. Thank you, Gary. You just proved what a fine little camera the G100 actually is, along with the very sharp Panasonic lenses, some great pickies. Thank you so much for the kind words. Yes, the G100 can be a very capable travel camera. This just makes so much sense for me to use in Iceland. And regarding the lenses, yeah, a little bit of a funny story. The 14-140 is not regarded as a very sharp lens. I think it is very underrated. Yes, it's not the sharpest, especially if you compare it with prime lenses, but I still think I can get great result with that lens, and I'm quite happy with that one. And that wraps up today's video. So that is all for today's episode of questions and answers. Hopefully my answer has been fun, entertaining, inspiring, informative as well. And yeah, if you have any more questions, please don't hesitate to comment down below or comment on any of my videos, and I will try my best to answer them in a video format like this one. It's been fun. I really enjoy making these episodes. Anyway, don't forget to support my channel by liking this video, sharing this video, subscribing to my channel down below. If you want to support my channel even further, again, I kindly invite you to become a supporter of my Patreon, because there you will get some exclusive benefits, tutorials, Lightroom preset, being able to download my photos, and also the calendar that I showed earlier in today's video. So yeah, make sure you are in my Patreon, and also you can use the affiliate links down below. You will get some discounts, but you will also support my channel with a small kickback to keep this channel running, or use the super thanks button to make a small donation to my channel. Thank you, and I will see you guys on the next video. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you. Goodbye.